It's been quite some time since I last took my Switch out of the dock for some on-the-go gaming. Part of the reason is because the Joy-Cons are not very ergonomically designed for extended gaming sessions. For people with large hands like me, we most likely will run into hand cramps not too long into our games. But now, with this pair of joypads that NYXI sent over for me to review, I'm feeling quite confident that I'll be able to play my Nintendo Switch outside its dock again. Hi, what's up everybody? I'm Edward. In today's video, I'm going to go over with you the features of the NYXI Wireless Joy-pads for the Nintendo Switch and also share with you my usage experience from gaming with these Joy-pads. And although these Joy-pads appear quite similar to the Hori Split Pad Pros, these NYXI ones have many more functions like the official Joy-Cons that were left out by the Horis. So, hit that subscribe button if you're new to this channel, and let's the details! As we go through the unboxing, if you like what you see today, please consider purchasing one with the link in the description below while using code GAMERSClinic to get 10% off your purchase, as it will also support this channel at no additional cost to you. Alright, opening the slightly bland box, which I think sends the wrong first impression of the controller, you'll find that the NYXI Joy-pads come in a fairly simple plastic packaging. There's not much here other than the Joy-pads, a centerpiece connector, a USB A to C cable, and an English manual. The first thing I noticed when picking up these Joy-Cons was that they felt a lot more sturdy than I expected. The ABS plastic material used didn't feel cheap, and the craftsmanship was quite good for an off-brand product. There are no sharp, rough, or uneven edges at where the plastic pieces join together, so that's a good start. The front buttons feel identical to those on the official Pro controller, while the shoulder buttons have a tiny bit less tension. The analog sticks also have similar resistance and fluid travel distance compared to the official Pro controller, making it easy to do micro inputs. Weighing at approximately 75 grams each, the NYXI Joy-pads are slightly heavier than the official Joy-Cons, but when holding both at the same time, I really could not feel the difference of the 27 grams. Sliding them onto the NYXI centerpiece and converting the Joy-pads into a full-size controller, the total weight of 200 grams is 50 grams lighter than the official Wireless Pro controller. So that's good, as it's basically a slightly larger Wireless Pro controller without the NFC and infrared function for when you want to play in docked mode or need a second player to controller. Sliding them onto the Switch, the NYXI Joy-pads are immediately recognized by the system as a normal Joy-Con. Though, using these Joy-pads will increase the width of your Switch by 21%, so you might also need to get a new carrying case from NYXI as well. The Joy-pads come with 6 extra buttons that allows for the customization of the controller, and 2 of these are the extra programmable 3L and 3R buttons on the back of the controller that, in my opinion, are very well placed as they do not get in the way when playing in handheld mode. The other 4 are a pair of turbo and macro buttons with 1 on each controller. Powering up the Switch, the RGB rings under each analog stick will light up, and you can cycle through 3 RGB effects by holding the turbo and clicking the analog stick. There's a rainbow color effect, which unfortunately does not move, a breathing effect, and a static mode. It's a nice addition, but it's nothing fancy like Razer's RGB Chroma, which I think is a missed opportunity here for NYXI. And aside from the RGB lights, the NYXI Joy-pads for the Switch also comes with very powerful and kinda loud vibration motor in each controller that can be adjusted to 3 levels, but there's no haptic feedback or HD rumble here. Included inside each NYXI Joy-pad is also a 6-axis gyroscope for motion controls, and they are as responsive as the original Joy-Cons, so that's a big plus coming from a third-party brand. Each side sports a 500 mAh battery that NYXI claims to allow for up to 8 hours of gaming time, which is slightly less than the playtime of the official Joy-Cons, but I normally don't play continuously for 8 hours straight, and they charge back up pretty fast. And for charging methods, the Joy-pads can be charged while connected to the Switch unit or via each individual Joy-pad's USB-C port when playing wirelessly. Though I personally don't find the inclusion of these ports necessary, because to charge them this way, you will need 2 wires, and removing them can also help make the unit lighter. Now, for my initial feedback from using these NYXI Joy-pads, let me begin by saying that of all the third-party Joy-Cons that I've tried so far, These ones are the most comfortable ones I've ever used. They're very similar to the ones from Hori that I used to own in terms of shape and comfort, but the Horis only work while attached to the Switch and are not as flexible as these in terms of different usage scenarios. But they're not all perfect too. During the past 2 weeks of playing and testing the NYXI Joypads, there are only two minor issues that I came across. The first issue is that the RGB light ring on both joypads will occasionally light up on its own when I leave them connected to the Switch while the system is on standby. Sometimes they will turn off again after a minute or two, but other times it will stay on until I wake and sleep the Nintendo Switch again. Apparently, after checking with NYXI, they said that you will need to manually turn the RGB effects off before putting the console to sleep for this to not happen. So that's an inconvenience. The second issue is that I find the D-pad a little bit too mushy and not too responsive for fast rolling inputs. I mean, pressing single inputs register without issues, but when it comes to trying to input multiple directions in a short time, such as in fighting games, it will not register all of them sometimes. But other than these two minor issues, everything else about the NYXI Joypads was great. There were no issues waking the Switch up from standby wirelessly, which many off-brand Joy-cons are unable to do. The advertised functions all work as expected, and the comfort that they provide when playing in handheld mode greatly exceeded my expectations. And to top that off, I also want to point out that I find these Joy-cons connect to the Switch unit much more snug with no wiggle at all, unlike the official Joy-cons. So if like me, you face a similar problem where your Joy-cons would disconnect while playing in handheld mode, which is a really annoying problem, maybe the NYXIs could be a solution for you. But only time will tell. If they start to disconnect too after a few months, I'll post an update in the description. So yeah, if you're looking for a pair of extremely comfortable Joy-Con replacements that can also serve as a decently comfortable wireless controller, then I do recommend getting one of these NYXI Joypads. At $45, that is if you use this coupon at checkout, they offer a lot of value in return when compared to the $80 asking price of the official Joy-Cons. Alright, thank you as always for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer all of them. And if you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button as it will help me and this channel a lot more than you know it, and I'll see you again in the next video. Ciao!